Hey there, I'm Scott Nix. Thanks for tuning in. This is a quick video I wanted to put together. We're going to call it Getting Started on Guitar. I'm doing this because I've had a few friends reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in learning how to play guitar, or I've got teenagers that are interested in learning to play guitar. And a lot of these folks already have some musical experience through other instruments, through band, piano, whatever the scenario is. But they just don't know how to get started. So I thought this would be an opportunity to be able to kind of present some ideas where you can leverage some of the great material that's out there, YouTube and other things. When I was a kid, you got a Mel Bay chord book, your favorite cassette tape, and then you just tried to kind of figure it out, or you played with people that had been playing for longer. They'd show you what they could do. Or if you're really lucky, you went and found a guitar teacher. All those things are still, great avenues, but there's so much good, especially for introductory material out there. Hopefully this will just kind of give you maybe a step in terms of navigating that, figure out what to go look for, and then to really get you started on your journey here. So, all right, let's jump right in. So the first thing you need to be able to learn to play guitar is a guitar. And so another thing you're going to need is a tuner. I really like these. These are super handy dandy because they literally clip right onto your headstock. So you can tune your guitar. You do not need any cables or anything else to plug into, pedal tuners and that type of thing. Those are great too. You can also do this on your phone. Download a guitar tuner, hold it up to where it can register the sound coming out of the guitar, and it'll work basically the same way. But let's talk about the notes. So the lowest note on the guitar is a low E. E is an echo. And so what I'm going to do is play that. I'm going to look at the tuner. Mine actually turns green. If the note is flat, it will usually be to the left of the line. If the note is sharp, it'll be to the right of the line. And then it'll be straight up and down, and again, usually turn green when it's in tune. So mine is in tune. That's E as an echo. The next note is an A. A is an alpha. And that was just a wee bit flat, so I'm gonna give it just a little tune there and take it up to an A. The next note is a D. D as in delta. The next note is a G. G as in go. The next note is a B. B as in Bravo. And the next note is your high E. E as in echo. So the low note and the high note, they're the same note as an E. They're just one octave pitch apart. So now the guitar is in tune. Now if you just play all the strings open, that's not going to make a terribly pretty sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on how you chord. We're going to focus this part. Here's where you need to go to the internet and go find yourself a guitar chord sheet, right? And you're going to see a portion of that that's going to say things like major chords. And so that's what we're going to talk about. And I want to show you kind of here in the box some major chords, but I want to group them in a very special way with you. So as you're learning to practice, and the reason we're going to do that is it's going to kind of different chords fit together. If you've ever heard the saying 1, 4, 5, right? Kind of that whole Nashville numbering system. What that's actually talking about is using 1 as the root of a scale, right? Or which chord that you're playing in. So for example, if you're in the key of C, the notes in that C major scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C being the octave. So the first note is a C, C. The fourth note is an F, and the fifth note is a G. So the reason we're going to do that is because most of the popular music you're probably going to learn to start playing guitar on, whether it's old rock and roll, country, bluegrass, gospel, those type of genres of music usually kind of gravitate around that whole 1, 4, 5 root structure. So we're going to start with the key of C. And so get your chord sheet out, look at the C major chord. It'll look something like that. There's my root with the C. And what I would tell you to do is strum a couple times. And just to where you can get comfortable with that, okay? The next chord, the 4, C, D, E, F, looks like this. Again, get your chord sheet out. You're going to shift everything down, basically one set of strings. Some people play this way. Some people play with the F to hold the low F. That works too. Some people play it this way, which is like a barred F, and we'll talk a little more about bar chords before we're done here. Either of those are right. Okay, now let's go back to the root. It's C. So now we did 1 and 4, so let's try 5. So what would the 5th be? So C, D, E, if F was the 4, then G is the 5th. Or this one. Okay? So again, these chords will be on any chord sheet that you pull, but that just gives you 1, 4, 5. And you'll recognize this in lots of different songs, especially, again, old rock and roll. I think you get the idea. So what you want to do is to get those 3 chords and just get to where you can practice jumping back and forth with those until it becomes very easy, okay? So I'm going to take you through not all the exercises, but the same chord progressions in different keys, okay? So here's what you'll see what I mean. So now let's look at the key of G. If we're going to move in the key of G, then G would be the root, G, right? The 4th would be a C, G, A, B, C. And the 5th would be a D. Okay? Again, all these chord patterns you're going to find on your chord sheet, easy peasy. Lots of songs work off of that. Easy enough. See, we're playing little bits of songs already. Okay, very quickly through the remaining D. If we play D as the root chord, then the 4 is a G, and the 5th would be an A. Okay, so same scenario, just get to where you can get to using those 3 chords together. All right, key of A. Hopefully you're catching on to how this pattern works. So A, the 4 would be a D because A, B, C, D, right? So A and D will go together, right? As well as then the 5th. If the 4th is a D, then the 5th is a E. And again, all these chords are on your, you'll be able to find them on your chord sheets. And by the way, it's pretty self-explanatory, but what you'll do is when you look at those, you're going to see 6 strings drawn out, right? You'll see the frets, and then wherever the circles are, those represent where your fingers go on the strings. And you can actually find pictures, like the old Mel Bay stuff used to actually show pictures of how to fret those with which fingers. There are some that's obviously better than others, but for the most part, I say do what works for you. Okay, so how about E? E's really popular in the, especially the blues genres, right? So E is the root, A, right? E, F, G, A would be the 4th, and a B would be the 5th. Now something special you probably noticed there. So if this was an A, right, and a B is just one note further, what I did was I'm actually making the same shape with that part of my finger for the B, and then I'm using my finger to basically shorten the neck. And that's called bar chording. We'll talk about that just a little more a little later, but so you're picking up on that as we go. There's a B7 you can find, which is used actually pretty popularly with the E, A, and B7, 1, 4, 5. Okay? All right, the last one I want to show you would be key of F. So if we started with an F, the 4 is actually a B flat. If here's A, and this is B, halfway in between those is B flat. So F, B flat, C. Okay, you probably won't use that quite as much starting out, but it's good to know. Okay, so your drill there is go get a chord sheet, practice those major chords in those patterns is what I would recommend, and that way you'll start to hear how those fit together. C, F, G. Okay? Same G, C, D. Remember how we said they fit together? 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5. If we're going to do key of E, it's E, A, B. If you ever get confused, just use the alphabet. Again, the scale is 7 notes plus the octave, right? So A, B, C, D, E, right? What's the next one? F, G, back to A. Okay, super. Okay, so another thing you want to probably look at is you're going to hear some things that are, I want to introduce minor chords. In a minor chord, the reason you want to start with these major chords is because it kind of helps wrap your brain around the different variations of those, and one of those being a minor. So I like to say the major chords, they kind of have that happy sound, right? Kind of that sunshiny chord. A minor chord has what I'll call a little more darker tension type of sound. I'll show you what I mean. You hear that? So that's the difference between a C major and a C minor. And the way you get that sound is the third note in the scale is actually flatted, okay? So an A and an A minor, okay? You're gonna use those in different things. So like, for example, Take It Easy by the Eagles. That's an easy, a lot of people play that. This would be in G, with the G's the roots. So you can tell we're doing 1, 4, 5 so far. Now we're going to do a E minor. So by just knowing the majors and the minor chords for the same ones, you can play a ton of songs. So as you're looking at chord sheets and things out there, or you're looking at lyric sheets that have the chords annotated as like A, and it's got A minor or C minor or whatever. Now you'll know how to be able to connect those things. You just go look at what that chord is in the song, go look at your handy dandy chord sheet, and you'll know which chords to play where in the songs. All right, so we touched on this very briefly about bar chords. What I would say first is practice those core kind of root position things that we talked about and get really comfortable with all of those. Because once you have those, understanding how the bar chords work, you can then start to move your way up and down the neck. A bar chord basically works the same way as this capo. So again, if I only knew 3 chords, let's say I knew how to play G, D, and C. But I'm playing with my friends, or it's a song I like, and it's that same chord progression, but in a different key, then what you can actually do is use this guy to shorten the neck. So if I can play the same forms, but this allows me to be able to raise the pitch by the number of frets that I move it up the guitar, okay? So super helpful depending on what songs you're playing, because sometimes some chord some chord positions work better than others. And sometimes it can actually it sounds cool, right? If you're doing the same thing up in a different place in the neck. So a bar chord works basically the same way, but instead of using a capo and having it static, you're actually using this finger to shorten the neck. Same concept, right? So for example, this is a C chord. Well, I can also, that is a C root, the same note as that is. Do you hear that? They're the exact same note. So if I use an E form, remember how we played E here? Well, if instead of playing it with those fingers, what if I played it with these three, and then I treat my finger as the nut on the guitar, okay? Now, what I'm doing, if I move that up, E, F, F sharp, G, right? A flat, A, B flat, B, C. That's called a bar chord. So once you get comfortable with those root positions, that's basically how the caged system works. Is you're taking those chord shapes, the C, the A, the G, the E, and the D, and you're using the root on the neck to be able to move to different positions, right? Caged. Again, I'm not going to deep dive there. You can look it up. There's a ton of material on cage out there. It's a good way to kind of learn where the different positions are in the neck. But first, get these down pat so it'll make sense. All right. Last thing I wanted to be able to tell you is, and this is the most important part, so make it fun. Because if it's fun and you enjoy it and you're learning songs and things, then you're going to practice. And the more that you practice, the easier that your fretting will become. It'll just make it more enjoyable, right? And that's what this is all about, is having a lot of fun to do it. So I recommend finding the type of music you like. You know, old rock, 50s, 60s, 70s is great for learning to play guitar. 90s is great because there was a lot of the right, that kind of stuff. So, but find something that you enjoy. There's so much information on the internet, and then just kind of work through those. Find songs. Songs is what makes it fun. Scales are great. Yes, absolutely. Need to learn and practice those. Learning to chord in different shapes is great, absolutely. But we don't play music because we just want to do runs and patterns and chords. We play music to be able to create music, songs. So so find the things that you really enjoy. Country music, bluegrass music is great for this stuff. Blues music is great. Anything that you like that you can translate into the guitar. And the great thing out there is there is so much good material out there. One I like is Marty's Music. And one of the things I like about it is he picks up very popular songs and he simplifies the riffs enough that it's kind of easy to play. But he actually plays them kind of simple enough that, especially as you get the basics down, you can start putting more and more songs into your repertoire. The Eagles Anthology is a great thing to learn to listen to because so much of their music is just being able to strum and keep along. At the end of the day, it all just comes down to practice and having fun. And the more fun you're having, the more that you're going to practice. So that was a lot to unpack. I wanted to keep this to 20 minutes or less, and I hope that gives you enough to get started. Keep on picking. Let me know how it goes, and we'll hope to see you around. God bless.